political reporter. Right, well, just on that issue, actually, Labour MP Rosie Duffield said that she feels ostracised from her own party on that very issue, prompting comments from Sir Keir that Labour must discuss gender with, quote, respect. But what does this actually mean? When will Starmer come forward with his stance, and what would you like to hear from him? Now, I am joined to discuss this particular issue. It's, of course, in light of the story that was doing the rounds yesterday. It's hit the headlines again today because there's been a development on it about the man who raped 2 women, transitioned into womanhood, and then went on to, at least initially anyway, be housed in a women's prison, albeit in segregation. Nicola Sturgeon has said now that he will never have full access to it. As you can see on your screens there, I am joined by LGBTQ activist and director of the Peter Tatchell Foundation, Peter Tatchell, shock horror. We are also hoping to get another guest on this as well. But Peter, thank you very much. I will start with you then. My understanding is that you feel as though this particular individual, the individual formerly known as Adam Graham, should be housed in a women's prison but in segregation. Is that right?
Well, first let me say, whatever a person's sex or gender identity, a rapist is a rapist and a threat to women. No rapist should be anywhere near a woman where they could potentially harm them. So it's absolutely right that in a women's prison, this person is held in a segregation unit and is not allowed access to other women prisoners. That would put those women in potential danger, and that is not what the prison service should be doing.
Okay, but Peter, I heard earlier on that someone identifying, so a man with full genitalia identifying as a woman in a woman's prison can demand to be strip searched by a woman. And that, frankly, puts the female prison officers in a rather difficult situation. None of this needs to happen if a person with a fully functional penis and the rest of it is just put in a male prison.
Well, there are 3 options here. One is, of course, if someone has committed a crime as a man, which is what this person did, then they could be put in a male prison. That would be reasonable. Another option would be for the prison service to establish trans wings or trans units within the prison where it would only be for trans women and they would not be able to mix or access other women in the prison. And the third option is the segregation unit, to put them in segregation, which is the same thing. They do not have access or association with other women in the prison. All those 3 options keep women safe. And of course, women must be protected against rapists.
Do you think that the victims of, well, the rapist formerly known as Adam Graham are being lost in all of this? There appears to be a lot more talk about his human rights than the rapists, the people who were raped.
Well, absolutely. You know, our first thoughts, sympathies and support must go to the victims. And clearly, this person is a monster. And, you know, I'm all in favour of trans rights and I have defended them on many times on this programme, but there's absolutely no way we can have any concessions or sympathy with someone who's committed these horrendous crimes. And yes, victims must be.
I do just want to highlight as well to our viewers, because I know that this is a very sensitive issue for people right across the demographic, by the way, members of the LGBTQ community and, of course, women as well. We were hoping originally to have a bit of a back and forth, I'm sure you're aware, Peter, with Jo Bartosz there, who is a female journalist who's very vocal on this stuff. Unfortunately, a little bit of a connection problem. Alas, it is you and I, 2 men here, Peter, now talking about this issue. But I think we can do it well because it is relevant in that sense, isn't it? But can I ask you, what do you define as a trans person?
First of all, let me just say this, that we must always remember that 99.9% of trans women are totally responsible and respect women. They would never do them any harm and have never done them any harm. So we must not demonise all trans women.
No, we're not.
Based on what a very tiny minority.
I get that, but no, Peter, I think the problem is, though, I don't think stuff like this is doing members of the trans community any favours whatsoever, because from where I'm sitting here, there is a violent sex criminal, and all they've done is put a wig on and buy a pink handbag, and now they're claiming that they're trans, and they go to a woman's prison.
I can assure you that all trans people I know, and the feedback I get across the trans community, they are horrified by this criminal act of rape. They have no sympathy with the rapist whatsoever. But to go back to your question about what is a woman, there are two kinds of women, a trans woman and a biological woman. They're not the same, they're different. Both are equally valid. It's valid to be a biological woman. It's valid to be a trans woman with a trans identity. We all have a we all have a gender identity. You, Patrick, have a gender identity. You define yourself as a man. I define myself as a man. There's nothing.
But Peter, I do hesitate to say then, Peter. Well, don't hesitate to say. In fact, I will just say that I define myself as a man. I personally don't think I have the right to tell a woman what a woman is, whereas you, a man, feel as though you do have the right to tell a woman what a woman is, don't you?
Well, a lot of women agree with what I said. I'm reflecting the view of many, many women. I'm not dictating to women. I'm just giving my personal opinion about the difference. And I think there can be an acceptance and respect for both biological women and trans women. They are both equally valid, deserving respect and dignity. And no one should be penalized because of scaremongering views about what a handful of trans women have done.
I dare say that women, as in biological women, though, would say they are being penalised, Peter. I would say that biological women feel as though they are being penalised by the fact that, let's be honest, me, with a wig on and carrying a handbag, could go into a woman's locker room. That women are the only people. The people suffering there are the women, of whom there is a lot more than, you know, the people, the fraction of a percentage of people who identify as trans.
Well, look, Patrick, just think of this. Is a rapist really going to dress up as a woman for 3 months to get a gender recognition certificate and then commit a rape? Of course they're not. Rapists have no respect for law or boundaries. They do their crimes. Rapists are not, the vast majority of rapists are biological males who are not trans. They commit horrendous crimes. We shouldn't be highlighting the small number of cases and use as an excuse to demonize all.
Well, there's no demonisation here, but the fact is, Peter, that people would dress up and do whatever for a period of time if they had some depraved, I should say, sexual urges, and they thought that would make it easier for them to go and carry those out. Of course, people plan murders for years. People plan crimes. That's how they do it. So if there's a loophole that's created that means that someone for a few months can dress and, I'm air quoting now, act as a woman and change some documentation, and it makes it easier for them to go and sexually assault women, they obviously would do it.
Well, put it this way. Most rapists have violent fantasies about women. It is based on machismo and ultra-masculinity. I don't think those kind of people are the kinds who would dress up as a woman. But as I said, they don't need to dress up as a woman as an excuse. I mean, I know, for example, a friend of mine works in a women's centre in the north of England. They have accepted trans women in that centre for 7 years with the agreement of both the staff and the women users. They've never ever had a problem, but they vet and assess every new woman who comes in to their centre. They check out their criminal record, they make other tests and searches to ensure that they are not a threat. There hasn't been a problem. So we need to be really careful about going down this road of demonising all trans people.
Okay, all right. I don't think anyone's demonising all trans people. I think it's more just highlighting a particular issue. But Peter, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Peter Tatchell there of the Peter Tatchell Foundation. Right, lots to get involved with there. As I said, we were hoping to have Jo Burtush on as well, who is a female journalist on this. So we're going to have a bit of a debate. Sadly, issues with the line, so we will try to return to her later on.